Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show, Aftershow show. And we have audio, so that's good. Once I started adding audio to the streams, it really picked up the quality of them. Kidding, of course. You're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. I am Coach Steve Money, a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And for my financial content, you just scroll past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist. And today is number 545 of those. Answering your financial questions playlist. There's 138 in there. And basically on that one, I just do questions. I don't talk about the market unless the question specifically asks about the market. I don't do any articles or any, long preamble or anything like that, like I can do sometimes on the after show. The music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs. Let's get a different one than I usually do. Let's see. How about, Lifestyle Creep would be a good one. Lifestyle Creep. Instead be a widow. Why the heck are you in debt? You don't belong there. You don't belong there. Alright, little pitchy dog, but, no music, so that really hurts me when there's no music there. Gotta have the music to make it better. Alright, and even then, some will tell you it's still not that great. Singing not my regular job, and market report. Dow down, but other than that, still up good, and imagine that. Now, the small cap index, I believe, was way up, to start the day, and then that just said, Bloosh. So don't know why that was, but I did see it when it first started. And it was like 3% up or something like that. Right? Where's the line? Oh, the line's all the way down here. Yeah, at 2092, and it was up at 2104. And so that was, I guess, was 3% or something. So that's where it was, but it's still positive, so you can't complain about that. You can, but it doesn't do any good to complain either way, whether it's up or down. And so it looks like it's going to be another decent day so far, but it's early going, so you never know. What up, Trey? Mama call him Trey, Daddy call him Trey, I call him Trey. The rest of the planet, we have almost everything up there, except for the FTSE, and I believe that's their S&P 500. I can't remember what that one correlates to, but they call it the FTSE. It's something FT something stock exchange, I believe, is what that means. Asia mostly down for them. And the currency, euro up over the US dollar, yen wins. The British pound, love, up above the US dollar, but the US dollar over the Canadian dollar, Sorry, and maybe one day we'll use the same currency if they're going to be the 51st state. That is nutty. And the Australian dollar up above the United States is Dolomite. And then that's a NAR. And we don't need to look at futures. Let's check who do we have? What's today? Today's 13th, tomorrow's the 14th, so that'll be Charles Schwab tomorrow, and then Thursday, the Walmart and the Applied Materials will be doing that. And of course, the key to sounding a million years old is like you take something new, like newer, say like, iTunes, and then you just put the word the in front of it and call it the iTunes. And so then you sound a million years older than you actually are. Who do we got here? Apple, Google up, just slightly down is the Microsoft, say it like that. Amazon up. Amazon's been doing great past week or so, I think. Meta as well, the artist formerly known as Facebook, and Tesla being at a normal pace there. Not a lot of change there today, less than 2%. And normally that's going to be, it's not out of the ordinary to see this as much as 5 to 7% change in a single day, and that can be fairly normal for the Tesla. A lot of what do they call that? Volatility. Speaking of volatility, where is it? There's a volatility index, and you can't invest in the volatility index, but there is there's something you can do with that where it's kind of like you can make money off it. It's kind of like an investment. Seems like more of a bet to me, but I didn't look too much at it. But I just saw something in there where you can do something with it, but it's not like investing in the volatility index. Let's see what the news has to say here. Nissan to cut 11,000 more jobs and shut 7 factories. And I guess their ticker symbol is 7201. Okay. And they're up 30% despite doing that. I mean, I guess they think that's going to lead to more money if they close 7 factories and lose that many jobs. Or people haven't reacted to it yet. U.S. consumer prices rise moderately in April. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. And I saw something. Let's see if it's in here while I'm talking about it. It's not. I saw something earlier about the inflation was up 2.3% or something like that, and that's higher still than the 2% that they want it to be. So why not lower rates and be proactive instead of always waiting until it's too late and then trying to fix it after that? People in the government and everywhere really are nutty. United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty steps down. Company suspends annual forecast. Okay, that's not very good. You can see 14.5% down today, so that's not good for United Health. Ars Technica VPN firm says it didn't know customers had lifetime subscriptions and cancels them. That seems like something you might just have to eat there. Let's see what's going on there. That's just weird. Didn't know customers had lifetime subscriptions. How not? We acknowledge that notifying users after the deactivation was a poor experience. You think? Oh, new owners of it. Okay, so I guess it wasn't disclosed to them. Hey, I got a great idea. Why don't you look over the books better? Why don't you check it out better? I mean, it's possible that the sellers of that VPN hid that, didn't include that information. But you would think you would vet a company and check it out fully, and you might have come across that when you bought it, but it could have been some subterfuge on the part of the sellers. Trey Googled it, I guess, or knows off the top of his head. It's FSTE, FTSE is Federal Trade Stock Exchange, FTSE. Now, the health guy might just be trying to avoid getting shot at, and that could be. You do want to avoid being the target of firearms, for sure, if you can. Former employees, community members allege Able Gamers founder fostered abuse behind closed doors. Well, all right. Is that a game company? IGN, so that would be a game manufacturing, like a video game manufacturing company. But abuse. Okay, great. Being sarcastic there. Ticketmaster begins upfront ticket pricing as Biden admin junk fee ban takes effect. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah, so they show the entire price at the beginning instead of just adding on all the junk fees at the end. Okay, so that's good. CNBC Hinge Health aims to raise up to $437 million in IPO, pricing at $28.32 per share. All right, well, somebody's got to take the place of United, apparently, so knock yourself out. Devastating Chan Zuckerberg charity slashes funding for more Bay Area nonprofits. Okay. Is Chan related to Mark? I don't know who that is to Mark. Wife, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. And anything else we want? No, I think we're good here. Let's do some questions. Let's see. Let me make sure we're in that. We did high yield savings account or pay off credit card debt. There's no savings. There's no savings other than the $1,000 while you still have non-mortgage debt. It's right there in the baby steps. You're nutty. You're nutty if you are at, it doesn't say add to this $1,000. Doesn't say to do that anywhere here until step 3, and you do not do all of the steps at the same time. So people are nutty for doing dumb crap like this, but it is so normal for people to have a big pile of savings and also have debt too, and that is called debt leverage. And first of all, Mr. Ramsey's no debt, and he's also no debt leverage, so that's 2 strikes against you. You're doing it wrong. It's easy. It's very easy to understand. People just don't want it. They just want to keep doing their dumb crap that they keep wanting to keep doing. Yeah. That was a bad sentence. Hench Finn spoke to spouse, and that's good to do. Let's do that before we run to the Reddit, is what I'm thinking of. And maybe that suffices and we don't even have to run to the Reddit. But let's see what's going on here. Had one of the hardest conversations with my spouse today about our finances, our individual debts, and our lack of a joint account. Right, that would be an issue because you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, so theoretically a little bit familiar with the Ramsey advice, enough to know that you're on baby step 1 here, and so about our finances, our individual debts. It's your spouse, you're married, so it's not individual debts anymore. I mean, legally, maybe yes, but then maritally, it's not supposed to be. Ramsically, that's fun. It is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be our, instead of our individual debts, it's just our debts and our lack of a joint account. Yeah, that's a problem. And again, I'd love to know. So in year 8 of our marriage, I finally talked to her about it. See, that's dumb as crap. So how long has this been going on where you didn't worry about it before? But of course, people go through life without thinking anything about money stuff until it just gets a little too tight in the month and they Google debt and then they see Mr. Ramsey's name on the Google and they look at it and go, huh, man, I wish I was paying attention to money all along. And yes, that is the answer to do that. And of course, having a financial discussion. You should have many, many financial discussions, at least in a general sense, with even somebody you're dating, because why bother continue dating if you're not going to get along in the financial? If there's something with the financial outlook or mindset that is a deal breaker, then why would you want to keep going out with that person. Um, we decided to combine. All right, hashtag third grade. We're doing it's hashtag to combine. We decided to combine our accounts and start on the baby steps together. Oh, great. Okay. Now what? The conversation was constructive, and we are both very glad we had it. Well, great. That's fabulous. Currently going through total money makeover. But does anyone have Ramsey-esque advice for doing this with a spouse? Any advice is welcome. Yeah, get familiar with the advice. Watch the shows. You're going through Total Money Makeover. That's a book. You can do that. You can also do FPU together, Financial Peace University. You can do that class together. That would be fun and probably very helpful. But you talk about things, and you can have one person, the math nerd, make up the budget, but then you have to have the other person put their input into it. Like, for example, if it's a nerd man, say, for example, the nerd man makes up the budget, but has no clue about how much food costs and put something ridiculous for that. So that's when you would want input from the lady who probably is more aware of that kind of thing. Instead of sometimes the man just comes home and the food is already there, and so has no clue what things cost, and just puts a random number there that he wants to put, and something is something way too low or whatever. Trey says, but the baby steps instructions are difficult to follow. LOL. That's right. Trey says, individual debts. Wrong, they're married. Ramsey S. The baby steps apply the same to one person as does a family. That's true. They're doing it all wrong. Thinking mine and yours. You right, Trey. And yeah, that's the whole deal. It's the same as whether it's the same advice. It's the same advice. It's just two of you doing it, which theoretically you should be better off because you are splitting the assuming there's two incomes at least, because you're splitting the house stuff. But even if there's not two incomes, you do have one spouse there taking care of the house and perhaps the children and so forth. And so that's a financial help as well. Let's see. Anybody I recommended? Yeah, just keep paying attention to it. Pay attention to your numbers too. Once a week at least, I would go into the bank account and look. Okay, we spent money on that, and that's how you should come up with if you're the one doing making the budget. If there's one person that like drafts the draft version, I guess, of the budget, and you have no idea how much groceries cost, I got a great idea. Go look and see how much was spent at the grocery store in the last month in your bank account. And that will give you some idea. And if it's way more than you think it should be, then you can find out, well, what is costing this much? And then you work that out with the person that does the shopping if they are different. If you're doing the shopping, you should already have an idea. And so what you got to do is you got to look at, those numbers on the shelf underneath where the thing is, where you buy it, that number right there, that's how much it costs. So the higher that number is and the lower the baby step you're on, that might mean you don't buy that particular item. So, but in general, the advice is just to stay engaged. You're on this subreddit already. You can join the Ramsey Baby Steps community on the Facebook as well. And of course, I would watch every Ramsey show as well, because there are some things that aren't spelled out here. Like some people some people don't know that it says step one, save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. Some people don't think about, oh, well, it doesn't say save another $19,000 so I can keep my $20,000 savings and not put it towards debt. People do have that thought and they do that. And they don't say, oh, I'm dumb for having that. And I should put it to, if I want to follow the baby steps, I should put that extra $19,000 towards debt because I'm doing it wrong. Or, and then they try to hashtag justification station it. So it's a whole deal. It's a whole deal. So whatever you can do to learn about it. If you're younger, you might benefit from George's book, Breaking Free from Broke. But it's going to be the same general advice. Trey says they're approaching marriage like roommates. Well, I don't know necessarily that I picked up on anything like that in these four lines. So I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they're saying it's our individual debts. And sometimes people are treating them like they're our debts, but they still say her student loans and my student loans. They just refer to it that way, just from habit, that kind of thing. So don't really know exactly what's going on there. But I mean, this is spoke to spouse and not what should I do about spouse is the good thing here. So, hopefully, if they work together, you should be able to handle it. And of course, continue seeking knowledge and work on the financial things that you are not so good at and that caused, theoretically, the problems, because most time people don't come across Dave Ramsey unless they have money problems. All right. This is from Big Intention, 8500. Save more money or pay down debt aggressively. Well, speak of the devil. Step one, save $1,000 for your start emergency fund. Let's click learn more in case it says, let's see if it says, and save up a lot of more money too in a savings account. Have a bunch of money in savings while you still have debt. No, it doesn't say that. So quit being dumb. So let's see. There's that. And we need to go back to that. Save more money and pay down debt aggressively. Husband and I are expecting our first baby. Well, you should be saving money now. I apologize. When pregnancy happens, that is when you pause the baby steps and you pile up cash, just in case there's some kind of problem during the pregnancy, unforeseen costs, etc., etc. But then when mom and baby are safe, then you take that, hopefully all still there pile of cash, and you throw that right back at the same. Don't worry. If you pause the baby steps, the baby step you were on will still be there when you get back to it, when you unpause. Trust me. And so then you can just apply all that money to that. Have learned that while he gets family medical leave authorization, something like that, it will be unpaid. Okay. We've been very aggressive about paying our debt off, but are unsure if we should keep the same pace or slow down a bit. You would do that no matter what was going on with his job. You would still pause the baby steps and pile up cash. Start to save more money to prepare for the arrival of our first baby. We both work full-time jobs. Also, yeah, so you would still be working, but you just pile up cash. That's all you do. But you're on baby step one, so that's all you're doing anyway. So that's not for the first $1,000. It's the same thing. But then you don't start paying it off aggressively. And how can you be paying off? Okay, we've been very aggressive about paying our debt off And so if you put baby step 1, did you skip baby step 1? That's not advised either. People love to do it wrong for some reason. They just look at it and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do whatever dumb crap I want to do. And so I don't know why. But yeah, that's always a pause, baby steps. And so you're not paying off any more debt. But if you keep expenses to a minimum, and that's how you're aggressive about paying off debt, is by you know, people always want, how do you pay off debt fast? Well, you don't spend the money on anything else, obviously. And so if you keep that mindset, and you must be keeping expenses low to be able to do that, then you will just be aggressively saving, and then you'll have all that money above $1,000 to throw at your debt once mom and baby are home safe from the hospital. Trey says if his employer doesn't do paternity leave, then he should use some vacation time for the first few days, then go back to work. That's great. Yeah, that's a good idea. Know someone that did the FMLA thing for a newborn and it went badly. Alrighty. Yeah, you could absolutely do that. Because, yeah, if it's not paid, why not use vacation time? Because you will get paid for that. Theoretically, if it's paid vacation. Sometimes it's not paid vacation. Depending on your job. Kissing tree. All right. Well, I like trees. Not that much, though. Need advice. I'm divorced, and after my divorce, I have moved and have gone into a considerable amount of debt. Some days I am so fearful for my future. All right. Well, if you're fearful for your future, you should not have gone into a considerable amount of debt or any debt. So where was the fear then? I am now almost $18,000 in debt. I've been paying it down for the past several months. Great. That's how you do it. I get calls every day. I get mail all the time from these companies trying to loan me money or financial assistance. All of these small banks or credit card companies trying to give me a loan for, you don't get loans, you don't do any of this stuff except do what you're doing, which is pay it down. And you ignore all the emails and calls. Current CC around 20%. Net, which I know is very high. Are these places legit? Credit card companies, they are a horrible idea, but they are legit. Visa's a legitimate company, and so they are trying to make money off of you, though, and get interest off of you, because they would rather have the 6% from you than you paying it 20 to somebody else. But the idea is to just pay it off, to not keep moving it around. Because a lot of times, even if there's a 0% interest introductory period, there's still a fee to consolidate or to transfer your debt to that. And so there's a fee for that. And so that puts you into more debt immediately. And so you have to consider that when saying, oh, well, it'll be less interest. Not if they add it in at the beginning in that fee. So you got to be smarter than they are. And that is a problem with a lot of people with finances, because they have a blind spot when it concerns finances. So would you transfer your debt? The advice is to not do that, is to pay it off. It makes more sense to me, but I'm too embarrassed to ask because I cannot believe I've got myself in this predicament. To ask who? Bum, bum, bum. In this predicament, if anyone else has done a balance transfer, can you share what worked? Yeah, every balance transfer, and that was the word I was looking for, not debt transfer, it was balance transfer. Yeah, that is going to cost you money. That is going to be a fee for that, and they add that to the balance, and so that adds on to your debt. So that's not helping you avoid as much interest as you think, if any. It may all be baked in. So that's going to be a no. Just work aggressively to pay it off like you have been. What does it say? I've been paying it down for the past several months. Yeah. So you do that, and you just stop picking up the phone. If it's not somebody you have saved in your phone already, like, for example, friends, family, and businesses that you actually have accounts with already, then you do a thing called not picking up, is what you do. And you just ignore any mail from anybody. Trey says debt consolidation rarely fixes the problem because the problem is the personal spending habits. All it does is free up more credit for the person, spend more, so it can make it worse. It absolutely can. And yeah, the problem is it makes you think you've done something, so you relax. And Dave does not want you to be relaxed until the debt is gone. So, and you haven't done anything, you've just been moving it, playing the debt shell game. And so that should not make you feel any better, but it does for some reason when people do that. Plastic salary 477, interesting. What would you suggest to get to 15% starting in June? Wife and I will complete baby step 3 at the end of May. Excellent. Emergency fund will be $50,000. We have 3 full-time jobs between us. That's some working people there. With total gross income $430K. All right. Why is it taking you that long to save 50? Well, I don't know when they started. They could have started in April. Retirement is $700K in 90% traditional and 10% Roth. You should prioritize the Roth. But if that's getting full by the end of the year, I guess it really doesn't matter, but that would be the priority over the traditional. And 10% what we pause to get through baby steps 1 to 3, right? Which is what you should do. Good job. Good job. Good job. Somebody doing it correctly. Although there is still half the question to go still. House is worth $450,000 with $150K left at 2.25%. Great. When we start baby step 4 to 6, plan to restart company a 401k to max 6% for 4% match it. Alrighty, so now we're gonna scheme and scam here. Let's see. 4% match to all traditional, no Roth option. Okay, so here's how it goes. As always, here's your priority order. Match, because match is 100% rate of return. So match is first. Second is any Roth account. A Roth 401k is fine. If you don't have an option for that, not all employers offer the Roth 401k, then you would do a Roth IRA, and you get that. No taxes on the growth, which the growth is going to be way more than your contributions if you are in the market for any significant amount of time. And then you go back to traditional. And then if you max out your 401k and your Roth IRA, at that point, then you can do a HSA if you have a high deductible health insurance plan, or you would just go into just a standard brokerage account that's not tax advantage, which is not a retirement account. So that's the dealio on that. So is that going to answer this question? 4% match, all traditional, no Roth option. Company B max is 6% for 3% match on all Roth. Well, you would do the you would do the matches on everyone first, and so that might be a little bit too complicated for you, maybe. But if it's not, or even if it is, you figure it out and you do the match, because you can do whatever you want to in these. Now, in both, if you have multiple 401ks, you still are limited to that one amount per year. You don't get to have a full contribution at one company and a full contribution at the other company. Same thing as you can open more than one Roth IRA account a year, but you can only put the max for 1 year in them both combined if you open 2 of them. Company B max is 6% for 3% margin. That's 12%. Well, it doesn't include the match amount. Does not count towards the 15%. So if you were doing, let's see, like 6% for 4 match. Okay, I see what you're saying. And company B is 6 for 3% match on all raw. Yeah, so that is 12%. So you would, again, you would just go back to the list. You would max out the Roth first. After you've done all the matching and you still need to get 3% more of gross income, you would do that. And make sure you are doing that gross income. That's gross household income. So between the two of you, you guys need to be doing that. Suggest the additional 3% to get to the 15%. Yeah, so you would do extra in the Roth. So if you have, is that a Roth 401k? Match on all Roth. So I think the company B is a Roth, so you would then max out that one first during the year, and then after that, then you would go max out the company A 401k, which is or 401, as Dr. Deloney and many other people have started calling it now and leaving the K out for some reason, but I can't throw stones because I use a lot of abbreviations myself. We're cash flowing last child's college with just 2 years left. Everything left over goes on the mortgage. Greatly appreciate the insights. You're doing great. Doing great. Now, as of baby step 3, it shouldn't be going extra, shouldn't be going to the mortgage, but maybe that's not happening. Maybe I'm just trying to find something that they're doing wrong. But yeah, so that's it. That's how you figure all this stuff out. A little bit more complicated for you, having 3 different. What about C? 3 full-time jobs. What about what kind of just left that out? Completely left that out. How can you leave me hanging there? We get no closure. Oh, you get used to not having closure from the Ramsey show calls because, we don't get to see what they do afterwards. We often don't get to hear from spouse or any other people involved, so we don't really get the closure. And not getting it here either, but hopefully they'll be all right. And I think they will be. But yeah, it's just match first because that's 100% rate of return. And then Roth options are advised over the traditional, but of course you do the traditional and you get that match first. And so yeah, any matches at all going in any kind of accounts, that's first. And then Roth accounts, and then back to the traditional, and then maybe HSA and traditional brokerage or just standard brokerage account, no tax deferment or anything like that. For anything extra that if you need to get to the 15, because when you start making lots and lots of money, you might go over the maximum amount for the year that's in the law. Chat not loading for Sid. That's not good. That's costing me 0.0001 cent, Sid. That you couldn't be here before now. That's not good. Trey says that 400K plus is way over the income cap, even for married filing jointly, I think. Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, married filing joint limit 236K, unless they do backdoor phrasing. Dapper Money Tree. At what point should I pay off the whole house? On baby step 6? Or should I just keep a bunch of savings that the baby steps don't say to do, or do other dumb crap that the baby steps say don't do? Let's dive in, shall we? At what point should I pay off the whole house? And again, I'll go with my original answer, which would be baby step 6. Hi guys, I'm moving to get some input. And hi guys, what you think Dave would suggest? I'm pretty sure he'd say to pay off my house now, but there doesn't need to be a but. If you're pretty sure you pay it off, pay it off, or seek verification. Which is, if you're on baby step 6, yes, that's a yes. There are other factors, and your little situations do not affect the baby steps. It's always going to be the same. They're either paused because you have an emergency or pregnancy, or you're doing the baby steps. And so your little, whatever little facts you're saying about your life do not change the baby steps. Let's see what there are, though. 40 female children were not in the cards. May possibly foster in the future, though. Okay, great. Self-employed business publishing pulls $500,000 last year pre-tax. Looking like it may be $350 this year or lower, simmering down now. Hopefully that's not a trend. I get paid once a quarter, and I don't know. If you're self-employed, then you're the one who decides that you get paid once a quarter. Just saying. And I don't know what it'll be until about 2 weeks ahead of time. Yeah, well, you're the one that runs, you're in charge of payroll, so I don't know what to tell you about that. You can set it up however you want. The joys of publishing. This creates a lot of uncertainty. Now, I understand you don't want to get $50 in and then take it out immediately. I get that. But your salary, that should be worked out somehow, and it's not a thing where you're locked into, oh, well, I have to do it this way where I get paid once a quarter. No, that's not the truth, and that is some people's biggest money problem, is that they get one little thing that's not true in their head and they base their entire life on it. And so that's a big problem I find. A lot of calls to the Ramsey show involve that, where they've talked themselves into thinking that this I get paid once a quarter, and that was not written on the 10 Commandments. You just decided that originally, or somebody advised that or something, but that does not have to happen like that. So this creates a lot of uncertainty. Well, if you don't know how much money's coming in, yeah, I understand that. I mean, you can hold the, retained earnings. You can hold that X number of weeks or even months, and so like you would get paid out of 2 months ago's profits or something like that. However you can work it however you want to work it. That way you'd know for sure how much it was going to be, because you know how much money you made. And then you might not be able to draw as much salary if you didn't make as much. For example, $500K one year and $350K to the next year, you are not going to be taking home as much money probably, unless the business might be suffering by having less retained earnings, if any, if you still take the same salary you took in the $500K year. I have no debt other than my mortgage. All retirement accounts are already maxed out this year. Okay, well, if you are having an uncertainty about the amount of pay that you get, then I got a great idea. Don't max out retirement accounts already in the fifth month. 2 days ago, yeah, that was the 5th month. So by May, you don't have to have that maxed out already. So you're doing it wrong. You're creating problems for yourself. Emergency fund is enough for 1 year of cutback spending. Now, I mean, I get this kind of thinking if the person has no retained earnings in the business. So this is kind of like personal emergency fund and business emergency fund combined, maybe. But otherwise, you would not have the 1 year. That's too much. That's too much, and you would have that being applied to the baby steps, as in paying off the house instead of doing that. And you would not invest more than the 15% either. So you would not be investing that. You would put that money towards the house. And so, do we not understand the baby steps? It just happens. Whoops, wrong one. It just happens to mention, oh, invest 15%. It says that for some reason instead of a random number or whatever you feel like investing. Or you can do more than that if you want to max out your retirement early. You can do that if you want. Let's see what else we have. What other nutty stuff we have. I appreciate the bullet points. That makes it very nice. But also, a lot of this stuff is just stuff that's happening in your head and nowhere else. No debt other than mortgage. All retirement account max out. I did that already. Invested $2K a month in a brokerage. And that's a no. That's a no. You do not do non-retirement investing while you still have a house payment. You apparently do not understand the basics of the baby steps. 160K remaining on the mortgage. Started at 350K, 6.99%. I have just enough liquid to cover it if I wanted to pay the whole thing now and still keep my emergency fund. You shouldn't have extra liquid savings beyond the 1 year freaking emergency fund. You're doing it wrong. Currently paying $5K a month over principal to pay it quickly. That's great, but you shouldn't be doing the other crap. It probably, at this point, it seems like it should have already been paid off, but guess what you were doing? It wrong is the answer to that. Basically, I'm torn. Nothing's fine, I'm torn. That's 6.99% rate. I can't make, and no, I'm losing money. It won't fit. Every month because of it. Well, yeah, that's why you're supposed to pay that off instead of having dumbass extra savings. Then you got a year freaking emergency fund. And again, I'm not, if there's no retained earnings in the business, I'm not going to be too upset about that. Because that could just be called that. At the same time, I only get paid once a quarter. See, again, that's some bull crap that you made up. You do not have to get paid like that. And I flat out don't know what the next quarter will bring. Well, you can delay it by a quarter. Even if you do keep with your dumbass crap that you've convinced yourself is the only way to do it. You can wait until, what, January, February, March. You can wait till March, and that March is going to be the next quarter's payment. Or you can do it right after March, and then you know how much it's going to be. And that way you can plan in advance because you know approximately how much it'll be when you get paid. Even if you do take it immediately after March, you won't know exactly, but based on the first couple of weeks of March, you'll know. So even though you're not completely done with March, you don't know exactly, but you've only got a week left. And so it's not going to add that much to it or subtract. Either way, however it works out. But yeah, you're just painting yourself into this once a quarter. You don't have to get paid like that. One of my publishing partners may be screwing me over. That's a different issue. That's totally different than any of this other stuff. And so you're letting that cloud your judgment possibly on stuff. And if that's the case, that'll reflect in the upcoming June payment. I can pivot, but this is a slow business and it may take a year or so to recover. Okay, well, you know that ahead of time. Hey, this is what happens when you are self-employed and particularly in the publishing business. So you gotta deal with it. This is how it goes. I've saved hard to get to this point. Too much. You doing it wrong. Your house probably should have already been paid off, but you did it wrong, and so now it's time to fix it. Hesitating and thinking of waiting a few more quarters, pay periods to see how it shakes out. I live in an extremely remote part of California, thus why the house is $350K. All right, approved. And if I have to rejoin the workforce, chances are I'll have to move. Okay, that's fine. You can sell one house and buy another. Guess what? You don't have to stay in California either. On the other hand, having a paid off house will give me more options to rent or just live there and only pay the taxes. Yep, that's why you're supposed to do that, and based on the numbers, you probably should have already had it paid off. But you're doing extra dumbass savings, which the baby steps do not say to do. Also want to be a foster mom, and how about let's do one thing at a time. Let's do one thing at a time. And the house has 2 extra bedrooms that can be put to that purpose. Okay, great. Let's do one thing at a time. What do you think? Am I over worrying? Yes, and also again, you are using this quarter. If the only being paid once a quarter thing is bothering you, you get to change that because you own the business. If you are doing that so that you don't take out too much money too quickly, that's fine, but you are not locked into that. And again, as I said, then maybe you do a thing where you delay it. Instead of getting paid the next week after the quarter ends, maybe you get paid a quarter later. And that might be rough to begin with. You might have to start doing a thing where you do half and half, maybe something like that, and eventually transition to that. But the way you're doing it, you're forcing yourself into some of this stuff. The head says just to pay it and start living my mortgage-free life. Yeah, you would do. Also, you know what also says that? You won't believe this. The baby steps also says that. You know who wrote those? Dave Ramsey, the guy who is on the subreddit here. Not personally, but his name is the subreddit. The heart says to wait a couple more quarters because the road ahead may get bumpy. And you know what happens when things get bumpy? Having no rent or mortgage can really help with that. Edit, thanks for your advice, guys. You give me a lot to think about. I'm going to wait for the next quarter's payment to see if I should pay off half of the remaining right now or the whole thing. And how many comments? 40 comments. I wonder if anybody happened to hashtag mention that you don't have to be paid only once every quarter. So, but yeah, you should have already paid it off, and you shouldn't be having all of that extra savings. And unless you're going to go down to like basically get fired, which means you don't get any money, you keep doing the baby steps. Like you can't be on emergency mode, storm mode, all your publishing career. You can't do that. So basically, I mean, what you've described about that, and one of the publishers screwing with you, I would expect that to happen, and that's probably situation normal. So I don't know. I can't say none of that's going to be an emergency for you, so you're not supposed to pause the baby steps. And again, as I said, you have too much. You said it yourself. You have enough liquid to pay it off, and that means you should have already paid it off. So quit doing it wrong. And some people in the chat, of course, say, "Yeah, just wait till next quarter." And you know what? What's going to change after another quarter? What's going to change in your business after another quarter? You won't be worried about anything. Something's going to happen in this current quarter that is going to make it be all fine and dandy for you. That's going to happen. I don't think it is. So I think you're going to be right back in the same spot. So you know how you would be better off if you had, by the time the quarter's over, and nothing's changed, you would have been better off. You will have been. You will be better off when this quarter is over if you had paid it off today. If you did, so yeah, baby steps. How about we do the baby steps and the other Ramsey advice, such as to not have a year emergency fund and not have enough in savings, and also doing extra investments as well. See, too much. Trying to be too smart. Trying to have money all over the place. There was that show that Ramit guy was doing. He talked to a couple, and the man in that relationship had money, and just a little bit of money too, in like 5 different banks. And he said, well, it seems like more if I have it in a bunch of different places. No, it doesn't. You're dumb. Which real estate should I OA off first? All right, probably pay off first. I have 2 rental properties. Sell one and pay the other one off. You should not be having any mortgage on rental properties. You're doing it wrong. Both are positive cash flowing. Okay, cash flowing a little bit doesn't mean it's worth it. A lot of people are nutty and think it does. And also they're on 30-year fix, so that's no. How about you sell both of them? Sell both of them. Both positive cash flowing, one primary problem, $1,178,000 remaining debt. That's crazy. Why is it 30 years? That means you can't afford it. I feel very stressed. Yeah, because you can't afford it. So that means you got 3 properties, almost $1.2 million in debt. I wonder why you're stressed. Why are you stressed? Maybe because you did it wrong. Not sure which debt to attack or quickest way to debt freedom is to sell both of them. Lately, I've been thinking aggressively paying off the first rental property. What are your thoughts? You sell one and pay off the other. And that happens immediately, and then you save cash for your next one. No debt leverage. We do not build business on debt leverage. You're doing it wrong. Oh, I was babbling a long time. Let's see, Trey out. Sid says she needs a Hill and Valley fund. That is a good idea. Not with that year-long emergency fund. Does it need one? Because that's probably what it is. And so I guess you can hashtag justification station that year-long emergency fund by saying, well, it's emergency fund and Hill and Valley. So if that's the case, fine. But then again, that's supposed to take care of all your worry, and you're still supposed to pay off the freaking house instead of having extra savings beyond that even. Weak tank 4181. Donating extra versus paying down low interest mortgage. Donating. But what in the world? How did that open? I do a save webpage as donating extra versus paying down low interest mortgage. Hey everyone, I don't know that those two correlate. Hey everyone. Oh, you mean money? Maybe. I'm curious what the typical mindset is in donating versus paying down low interest mortgage. Backstory, I'm a small business owner. My business comfortably pays the bills plus extra. Great. And I strongly predict that my revenue will continue based on many factors. Great. Starting a second small business from scratch, more with the goal of learning skills that my first business hasn't forced me to learn yet. Great. Rather than actually making money. Great. That's still fine. It's up to you. It's your time. I believe it will make some decent money over the next 6 months. Okay. $1,000 to $2,000 a month net income. My wife and I are big advocates for donating to churches and local nonprofits. My current mortgage is 2.9%. Okay, so it wouldn't be a thing of that. So if you're a Christian, you believe in tithing, and that 10% comes off of the top first out of every paycheck. And so you're doing that. Or even if you're not and you still want to donate to church and local nonprofits, you can certainly do that. But if that's what you want to do, you do that first and then you still pay down your low interest mortgage. So basically what you don't want is a situation where you are debt leveraging the mortgage, debt leveraging the house in order to donate more. So that's what you don't want. So you want to have if you're Christians, that should be a tenth off the top. Current mortgage 2.9%. And so you wouldn't be having this thought if it wasn't 2.9%, if it was 7 like the other person. Where are we? 24 years left. You did it wrong. On the loan, which is our only debt, right? So you did it wrong by getting a 30, but maybe was not aware of Mr. Ramsey's advice before at this point when you bought the house, and likely not familiar with Mr. Ramsey's advice now because you're asking this, at least not regarding tithing and also following the baby step. It's not one or the other, it's both. You do both. And where that money comes from is not from the extra that you would pay the mortgage. It's from other dumb crap you spend money on, like eating out or something like that. You would cut out something like that. Where are we? Didn't have paid extra to it as we did not have the extra funds before. All right, again, it should be a 15, so you should be paying it off like a 15. But now that our primary business is making excellent money and we should make some with the new business, we have been talking about how much to give versus pay down the extra mortgage. Again, it's not an either or, you do both. If you believe in giving, you do that first. And then you still, with any extra, would put it towards the mortgage. What are your thoughts on how to allocate extra funds to whatever baby step you're on? And part of the baby steps is the budget, and the giving would be at the top of your budget as a Christian. My initial thought is to donate 50% of the extra money, but that is just a number we made up. Yeah. So you should, especially until you have no more debt, until you're on step 7, I would say that a tithe, a tenth, is plenty. So you make it a tenth and not say 50% of any extra. You don't do that. You do 10% off the top. And you keep it to that while you pay off your freaking mortgage. How about we do that instead of making up numbers? But again, may not be familiar with Mr. Ramsey's advice, and it sounds like that is the case. Or just average person that just reads the baby steps and misinterprets them. But the tithe thing is not in the baby steps, and so maybe I'll give him a break here. But yeah, you're probably, and that's the problem. That's the problem. People do this crap all the time. Did we have one more? We had the lady that thinks she has to be paid once a quarter. We have that. Saying that like that's the gospel truth. And it's not. You can change that if you need to do something different to make your life better. And just with the question, donating extra versus paying down low interest mortgage, the answer is both. People lock themselves into dumb thoughts and they think that's the only way it can go. That's why Dave often has, for people that call in, he often has people say, oh, should I do A or B? And Dave often has a C, if not a D and E to add to it. Oh my goodness gracious me. It is over an hour now. Baby step 7, do you get emotional at other people's success now? I like it. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of emotional. I like it. I want everybody to be successful, except dumb trolls. But I think that we'll read, see if there's any other subtext in here to see if what's going on there, and need guidance on next steps. Well, that would be to follow the baby steps, but we'll get into those mañana. I am Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, and if you, yes you, are having money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. That's in the ticker below. Also in the video description, you can email me at coachstevemoney@gmail.com about financial coaching, about finance stuff, about anything on my YouTube channel, anything on your mind. It's fine. Donations, you can go to paypal.me/Coach Steve Money. Alternatively to Cash App, $Coach Steve Money. Alternatively, again, to Walmart gift card to Coach Steve Money at gmail.com. That same email address. Upcoming streams, and I didn't change it. I'll have to change that. I'll change that right now. As soon as I hit stop stream, I will change it, and because it still says a bonus after show at 4 p.m. That's not happening this week. That was last week, and I forgot to change it after I noticed it was still there yesterday. My bad. So it's 10:27 a.m. and it stopped on time today. It didn't stop early. So I feel like for me, they edited a minute out or something like that of the show. Friday show that showed yesterday. Alrighty. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart. Says it right there in case you forget. Make smart financial decisions every day.